and her body's sort of emerging. And here we have a very familiar image of Isis she's wearing the horns of Hathor, the cow, which means she's absorbed Hathor's gentle, nourishing personality, what would we say, divinity, divine quality, and has the sun disk between the horns, and she's holding her divine child, Horus, on her lap. And you may or may not remember, Horus was conceived posthumously, because wicked brother Seth, locked her husband up into a coffin, and Isis had to go and find it. After great adventures, she found it, she brought it back, and Seth found it and cut it into 14 pieces and threw them all away. And Isis had to gather the pieces, but one piece was missing. It was his phallus. And she had to create something for that, but then she conceived magically the child. And so she bore from her dead husband, revived enough to impregnate her. So here she is with the divine child on her lap. And her very name, Isis, means the throne. She is the throne on which the divine child sits. So when the Pharaoh is sitting on his throne, he is sitting in the lap of the goddess. Okay? And many scholars think that Isis with her divine child is the model for Mary and Jesus, the pose that you so often see, and acquired many of the characteristics of Isis as Queen of Heaven and all the other names that are so familiar to us. This is an amulet of Isis. These are two ancient Egyptian goddesses. One is on the left is the vulture goddess, and the one on the right is the cobra goddess. And they are protecting Osiris here. And they're sheltering they don't have wings all the time, but in some depictions of them they do. And just like a mother chick, holding their wings over the little ones, these great goddesses are protecting him. And in ancient, the crowns that ancient Egyptians wore that had, I don't know the exact pronunciation, uraeus that comes out. It looks like a little snake. It's right over the third eye. It's the snake goddess, the cobra goddess, and she will spit poison at your enemies. So if you just wear this, around your head, and an enemy comes close, so they're in big trouble. But there's very interesting practices that the people had of putting little images of the cobra goddess in the four corners of the room and reciting, special spells over them. One can get lost in this stuff. Here is a new soul in ancient Egypt on the left. It's in the bird form, the spirit. This is the servant in the middle. This is a shabti who will come to life and serve you, when you're dead. And this is the spirit of the person who's died. And remember I told you, if you pass the sin test, you could get to be this special spirit who would help your living relatives. And how can you tell it's a spirit? Because of the position of the hands. They are praising, this is God, and perhaps slightly slanted to receive from the heavens. This is the hippopotamus goddess, who is constantly pregnant. So you know she's a fertility goddess. A Hindu goddess, sort of Marilyn Monroe pose here. And this is Nanshi, who's from Sumeria, and she is very, very ancient. She's the interpreter of dreams, and she's the sister of Inanna, whose name means Queen Moon. So you would go to the temple and tell your dreams to Nanshi. This is Artemis of Ephesus. Ephesus was apparently a spectacular temple to Artemis. This is not the Artemis Diana of the Greeks, who was the huntress. This is Artemis, a fertility goddess. And she's sometimes called Diana, but she's different from the familiar one. These are all breasts from head to foot, so she can nourish a lot of people. And sometimes, instead of breasts, she wears eggs for Eva. And here she is doing her nourishing. This is a statue in Tivoli in Rome. And maybe I should go through this next one kind of fast. A year or two ago, Ma standing in front of her in Tivoli doing my thing. Finally, into the hall, well, almost finally, the Hall of the Inspirers. These are figures that are somewhat different from the defenders, the devourers, and the enfolders. It's that special, inner light that we sometimes contact in dreams that almost comes through an oracle, that speaks. These figures move us to different realms. They lift us into a different place. And this is from my collection. This is Hypnos. Did you know that his wings are black? And he was said to stand at the head of the bed for this drowsy person and flap the black wings and fan them until, you drifted off and had great dreams. A side view of him. This is a bronze cast from the original, which is a Roman copy of a Greek original, but this piece is housed at the British Museum, but they sell replicas of it. This is a reconstruction of the goddess Athena in her great temple in Athens. She was apparently, it's really, really tall. I don't remember the exact figure, but everybody who saw it was just stunned. And she was carved from ivory and decorated in gold. Her symbol was the owl. And here we have priestesses dancing. This is a gold signet ring from Mycena. But these figures often share a trance kind of state. They induce trances in us, Here, this is Mercury, the Roman Mercury, with his caduceus. Do you know what the caduceus does? I didn't until I was doing some of this research. It puts you to sleep. So when he's sent from Zeus or Jupiter to give a message to someone, he just, and boop, you go to sleep and you get your message. Here's his caduceus, the two twining snakes climbing his staff. And he got this from Apollo. When he traded for the first lyre. Oh my God, 2 minutes, okay. Here we go. The 9 muses, you know them. This is from the Ndebele people in South Africa. This is an African dream doll. And they make beaded work, and the healers spin like dervishes except not in patterns, but just spinning. They put themselves into trance, and they see their ancestors. And the white beads are the future. They learn the future from their ancestors. And the red beads teach them curing powers. They become healers through their dreams. This is from New Guinea. It's a flying sow. He's got she has cowrie eyes and a big mouth. Some of these combined features, and these are cassowary feathers. Anyway, you hang it over your bed, you project into it, and it takes you wherever you want to go in your sleep. And the wonderful 7 lucky gods who come on New Year's Eve. You can buy prints like this. These are from my collection in Japantown. You put them under your pillow, and you're supposed to have very special dreams that will set the luck for the year. And here's another from my collection. This set, if you count fast, you'll see there's 8, not 7. But that's because the little one in the back, the only other woman, is a servant. You can tell the highborn ones because they have high hair. You know, high status, high hair. This is the god of long life, Fukujuro Kiro, or something like that. I bought in Thailand. He's got a high head. Also, status is packed with wisdom. And you can learn a lot from him. And here's a contemporary painting from a children's book of the 7 lucky gods. Ganesh from India, he's the remover of obstacles. And school children have him on their school books. He's also the patron of learning, etc. Very quickly, we've got Ole Lukai. You remember his magical umbrella from our time in Copenhagen. Here's a puppet we made from him. I felt he needed a female partner, so I created one, and her name is Lucy Starlight. And maybe you got one of her amulet cards, but she has, it's not a sleep-inducing wand, it's a good dream-bringing wand. And she has a whole story that goes with her. And racing through Celtic, I have no time to tell you, Patty Reed and the Donner Party, her 4-inch doll that she told stories to Jung on his rock in his garden. And he made a little mannequin from a ruler and kept it in a little box. Toys and dolls are magical for kids. And this is Jung's carved replica of it when he was an adult. Teddy bears, protecting innocent children from monsters under the bed since 1902. Here's the sleeping kid. Who's standing on his pillow? Pooh, with a wooden sword to keep off the bad stuff. When I was a little kid, my godmother made me a frog pillow, a stuffed frog pillow that I loved. Anyway, this little girl was, her name was Faith, and she was having nightmares about a ghost sticking her with a knife. And her uncle George, who was a graphic designer, made a Super Faith poster for her, and where she's taken care of that. And this is from a little Japanese boy after the earthquake and the tsunami. He was having awful nightmares. His mom, in desperation, grabbed one of his toys, Mr. Puss, put it on his head, and told him it would suck the nightmares out. Okay? Do you see the different ancient patterns being used by mothers today? And this is one, I took 2 puppets, hand puppets of tigers, and Keelan put them together for me with a pillow inside. And people have loved this thing so much that she started making others, double-headed alligator, double-headed dogs. This is a little boy, current book, who derives the power of a leopard to carve his dreams and help support his family. It's very sweet. This is snake puppet, obviously, and we're back to Lucy, which I hope you will read her poem. And finally, I'm ending with a picture of granddaughter Maddie. Where are you? Somewhere here. There's Maddie. Maddie is now 17. How old were you, honey, here? How old were you in this picture? 5, yeah. And her little dog Patch, yes, that she loved very much. So, and it's on the cover of my new book, and I hope you get to see it and enjoy it. I want to suggest to you this very rapid tour through the Dream Amulet Museum that in modern terms, we, all of us, we are the dream guardians, okay? And I would invite you in closing, because I'm getting the flash, if you would like to join me with the chant of the dream guardians. So if you would get up and free your hands. This is a very short call and response, and I will ask, who are we? And you answer, we are the dream guardians. And I will ask, what do we do? And you will answer, we defend, we devour, to make better, we enfold, we inspire. So, okay, who are we?
We are
the dream guardians. What do? We defend, we devour, we enfold, we inspire. Again, who are we? We are the dream guardians. What do? We defend, we devour, we enfold, we inspire. Each in our own way, go and guard dreams. Blessings on you. There's much to do. I hope you find your way to add to our knowledge. Thank you.